What's going on, guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be doing a follow-up on the top 5 worst movies I've watched. We went over on my IMDb and looked at some of the lowest rated movies I had on my IMDb. I pretty much rate every movie I've watched, like ever that I could remember. So I went through them, went over why I thought they were the worst movies I've watched. They were pretty much all horror movies for the most part. So I really have a pretty big disdain towards horror movies in general. So if you want to check that out, link will be in the description. But today we're going to be going over the top 5 worst movies I've watched in my 23-year career of being alive. So we're going to go ahead and go into it, guys. I'm on my IMDb right now, and we're going to go over the top 5 best movies that I've watched, that I've rated on IMDb. So I'm going to go ahead and switch it over. Here we go. We are on my IMDb, like I said, and we got some are up on my top of my tops. I have 3 10s here. I guess we'll just go down descending order. These are not in no particular order for the tens, but obviously the tens are going to be higher rated than the other two that I put on the IMDb or on this list or this freaking stuff. You know what I mean? So we're going to start with Avengers: Infinity War. This movie has needs no introduction. Like honestly, like I'm pretty sure the vast majority of people have watched this movie, and in my opinion, this movie is the best that Marvel, probably in general, has to offer. Man, this movie is just freaking fantastic. Let me just go ahead and pop up the trailer here. Make sure I mute the audio this time. Or last time I freaking forgot to mute the audio. I'm making sure I do that. But anyway, going back over what I was saying, yeah, this pretty much everyone has watched this movie before. Maybe you don't think it's the best. Maybe you think Endgame's better, or maybe some different MCU movie or just Marvel movie in general. But in my personal opinion, this is the best and the absolute culmination of in Marvel, especially the MCU. Granted, Endgame did have a pretty decent ending to the whole story, but I think Infinity War just overall is just better, better action, better, better ending in my opinion. I think just having the villain win and then all the heroes being hopeless to stop Thanos and what his ultimate plan was, which was to pretty much half the galaxy for. And he's not really a terribly written villain either. He wants to half the universe so that there will be less struggle for like the resources in the galaxy and stuff. I don't know if it's the universe or the galaxy that he halves, but he wants it to be like more balanced, more resources for everybody, and just to have, but the way he goes about it isn't really the best way. He's just trying to look out and do good for the universe, but obviously it's not a great thing just to wipe out 50% of the fucking galaxy. But yeah, the action, obviously MCU has really good action. I think they're kind of like joking, and like the formula is kind of like at this point is pretty old. Um but yeah, this movie, just the scale of it, the awesomeness of it, I guess, and just the overall, just this is like literally the best, in my opinion, the MCU has to offer, and I just have nothing to say bad about this movie. It was just from start to finish, just an absolute great time, and I just enjoyed it thoroughly from beginning to end. Like from beginning to end, this movie has no flaws and has my constant attention, and it's just so good. So anyway, guys, this is gonna be my this is gonna be 1 out of 5. This is going to probably my most favorite movie of all time. Honestly, I ain't gonna lie. So yeah, let's go on to the next one. All right, guys, for my next selection, another movie that really just needs no introduction, The Lion King. Man, who has not watched this movie? If you are above the age of 13, bro, you've had to have watched this movie at least once in your life, bro. This movie is just so good. It ages like fine wine. This movie came out what in the 90s, like early 90s. And the animation just looks spectacular, man. Disney's animation is just, even to this day, is even for their older movies, like even the movies that are made in like the 70s, the 60s, Lady and the Tramp still looks good, Fox and the Hound still looks good, but Lion King, I think, is just the absolute apotheosis of Walt Disney's fucking just movies in general. I mean, Disney has a lot of great movies, and I personally think I like the older style of Disney, the more 2D focused Disney than the Toon Disney that's like now a big thing. Thanks to like Frozen and show and movies like that. Toon Disney isn't really my favorite thing. I prefer like the older Disney that was like in the '90s, early 2000s. I think the last I can't remember what the last Disney movie that was 2D is. But this was made in, why can't I find a freaking date? 1994. It was made in 1994, man. I think the animation still looks spectacular, and the whole story of it is great. Having um, Mufasa die to his own brother Scar, so he can usurp the throne and be the king of the fucking plains or whatever, the savannah, and just, I mean, look at the freaking, like, I don't really care for the live action version. Actually, I haven't personally seen the freaking live action version of the movie, but the old movie is just so good, aged like fine wine. It's so great. Aku Amatata, everyone knows that shit, dude. And then freaking I don't remember what the fucking kid's name is. Simba. Simba comes back to usurp to gain the throne back from his uncle Scar after he sides with like the hyenas to rule the savannah and stuff. And it's just a great movie. The Mufasa dying as a kid, I ain't gonna lie, made me freaking ball in tears. I'm sure as a lot of other people would also agree with that, but just, oh my goodness, just a great movie. Fucking old Disney on top. I don't like Toon Disney nearly as much. Well, so I just don't see a lot of Toon Disney on my IMDb, but I did like Frozen. I didn't watch the second movie, but the first Frozen was pretty good. But yeah, freaking this movie just needs no introduction. It's a very popular movie, one of Disney's best, and personally my favorite Disney movie of all time. So yeah. All right, guys, we're on to the third and final top 10 or 10 out of 10 rating I've given for a movie. The third, or yeah, the third movie that I thought was absolutely perfect, flawless. If I give it a 10 out of 10, I mean there's no flaws. I think anyone can watch and enjoy this movie. It is Saving Private Ryan. If you're big into war movies, you've obviously seen this movie. I mean, it is a pretty long one though. I think this movie's like 3 hours long. Or it's 2 hours and 50 minutes. Honestly, the ending of this movie isn't the best, but throughout the entirety of the movie, it just has great action scenes. Just going over like the whole events of World War II, like through the eyes of this captain, played by none other than Tom Hanks, one of the best actors of all time, in my opinion. But this captain going through the events of like storming the beaches of Normandy, going through France and stuff, and fighting the Germans. It just shows this tale of this squad just going through everything and just going over like the history of World War II. So it might not be the most historically accurate movie of all time, but man, does the action scenes are amazing. And then as it goes on, more and more people of the squad are getting taking casualties, and they have to save this private named Ryan. Because his brother or something died during the conflict, and he gets his leave to go see his brother during his funeral and stuff. And they're trying to find Ryan so they can take him home and stuff. And it's just, man, just a great journey to try and find to save Private Ryan, as the movie shows. But it's really not even about Ryan. It's just this whole squad just going through France and fighting the Germans, and just my overall just favorite war movie of all time. Movies like, in terms of war movies, just without flaw. I mean, without equal as well. I can't think of a single war movie on top of my head that even comes close to the scale, and just the maybe 1912, but even then, I don't think they even really compares to how good Saving Private Ryan is. It might be at the same scale of it, but not, in my opinion, not even like in the same scope as Saving Private Ryan. I feel like Saving Private Ryan is like in its own class among war movies, and really, like I said, just my favorite movie uh, in the war genre. Like I said, it's like a drama. Most war movies are, but yeah, and it's, in my opinion, the best World War II movie as well. Yeah, so that's gonna be my third pick, my third top 10 out of 10 movie. I keep trying to say top 10. My third 10 out of 10 movie, perfect movie. I enjoyed this movie thoroughly from beginning to end. I don't know what the fuck this page is, right? This video is going on about right now. I thought it would be a trailer, but it's not. But maybe it's like movies that this guy directed or something. But yeah. Anyway, guys, going on to the next one. All right, guys, here's the fourth movie on the list, and my personal favorite Star Wars film. It is Star Wars Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back. This movie from start to finish is just one of my favorites. I've watched it so many times and it's been my favorite movie from the Star Wars genre ever since. It's so good, man. From the Battle of Hoth, seeing the ATs going across the snow, then the rebels narrowly escaping, just showing the absolute strength of the Empire. Darth Vader being as ominous as he is and powerful as he is after killing Obi-Wan Kenobi in the last movie, just showing off his raw power, and Han Solo showing his charisma as he does and just not to mention the ending, the biggest plot twist in cinema history when Darth Vader announces that he is in fact Luke's father and he is Anakin Skywalker. Just and the whole fight between Luke and Darth Vader is just really good. It's just this movie and none of the original trilogy movies have aged overly well. I mean, in my opinion, have its boring moments, but overall, if you can just go look past how old it is, I mean, this movie came out in 1980. If you just look past that and just appreciate the movie for what it is, and just the overall, just freaking just Star Wars. Like this is Star Wars right here. The original trilogy, in my opinion, is like the most truest form of Star Wars that there is. I'm personally not the biggest fan of the prequels. I'm sure as hell not a fan of the fucking sequels. The sequels just suck. I haven't even watched all of them, but I know they're bad. But the prequels, I think, suffers for a little bit, like quite a bit of bad writing. Honestly, I feel like George Lucas was kind of forced to make the prequel trilogy. I might not, you don't quote me on that, but I kind of feel like that's like the truth of it. But yeah, I feel like the prequels suffer from bad writing a lot of the time, and but episode three is really good, but episode one and two is kind of meh. But I think the original three are just the best out of all the Star Wars movies, and Empire Strikes Back is best out of all of them. I mean, Darth Vader is just a badass. It's showing like the overall just powerfulness of the Empire, and just front and back, just a great movie in my opinion. Runs for about 2 hours and 4 minutes, and it's just a great watch through and through in my opinion. Literally one of my favorite movies of all time. I can watch it over and over again and just enjoy it throughout the entirety of it. So yeah, that's gonna be our number four pick. We're gonna go into our last one. All right, guys, we're going to our fifth and final pick. Um, Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. Man, the first time I watched it, I heard of this movie. I didn't know what to expect because I'm not really a big fan of Shrek. I'm definitely not a big fan of Puss in Boots, particularly. I mean, the Shrek universe is kind of dope, but literally have never been my favorite movies. I don't even think I've watched the second or third Shrek movie, but the first Shrek movie is really good. I cannot deny that. When I saw this movie, I was like, I mean, it looks kind of cool, but I don't know if I like it. I decided to watch it, and man, was I just completely taken aback at just how good this movie is, man. Never really cared for the character of Puss in Boots, but by the end of this movie, I was fucking falling in love with him. The comedy in this movie does not miss, man. It does not miss. I don't even know how this is a PG movie, bro. Some of the comedy is like really catered towards adults. The freaking with the one guy and the baker's dozen dude, I forgot his name, but I'm not good with names, guys. I'll be honest. But the baker's dozen and all them, dude, are freaking hilarious. Puss in Boots himself is freaking hilarious, and the freaking guy, Death, is just dude, Wolf is just, oh my gosh, just an amazing character, being like Death himself, and like Puss in Boots can't come to terms with Death, so then Wolf is hunting him down to like freaking like the Grim Reaper because he fears Death, and so Death is like an unstoppable force for Puss in Boots. So like it's just the writing is spectacular. The animation, it can be jarring at times because it does switch between 3D and 2D quite a bit, but like it's just I think it's done very well. And just overall, this movie is just so freaking good. The comedy hits. I don't even know how this is rated at 7.8 out of 10 on freaking IMDb, man. Like I don't know what for watching the same freaking movie. The comedy hits. The animation's spectacular. Like I said, it could be jarring at times with the 2D switches, but man, it's just so good, so funny. The story is great with between freaking Puss in Boots and the fucking basic of the damn Death himself fighting it, and then he finally comes to terms with himself and no longer fears Death. And then that's when Death kind of gives up and he leaves. So yeah, man, it's just just a great movie through and through, man. One of my favorite animated movies of all time. So I gave it the fifth spot. So yeah, this is basically my top five favorite movies of all time. Kind of a follow up for my worst five. Thought I'd go over my favorites. That being Lion King, Infinity War, Save Private Ryan, obviously Puss in Boots, and The Empire Strikes Back. As well as thinking of my five favorite movies of all time. I freaking love these movies, and I'd watch them over and over again if I could. But yeah, so hope you guys enjoyed the video as always, and I'll probably do another video similar to this soon. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video as always, and I'll see you guys in another one. Peace.